Well, look, when you show intolerance towards everyone, which is what he does, you give permission as a leader for others to have their intolerance come out.
Another day, another Chris Christie blast at Donald Trump. This time, Christie said Trump deserves part of the blame for a surge in anti-Semitism.
Intolerance towards anyone encourages intolerance towards everyone. And that's exactly what's going on here. And that's been going on for quite some time, not just with Donald Trump, but with university professors on some of our most elite campuses in this country. You know, in the end, look, I think that there have been a lot of people who contributed to it, and I believe Donald Trump's intolerant language and his intolerant conduct gives others permission to act the same.
Chris Christie and other Republicans and Democrats point out Donald Trump's intolerance is on display in every other interview and speech.
We pledge to you that we will root out the communists, Marxists, fascists, and the radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country.
Nobody has any idea where these people are coming from, and we know they come from prisons. We know they come from mental institutions, insane asylums. We know they're terrorists. Nobody has ever seen anything like we're witnessing right now. It is a very sad thing for our country. It's poisoning the blood of our country.
Those phrases, poisoning the blood of our country and rooting out the vermin, are the same phrases used by Nazi Germany's Adolf Hitler. And historians note that when a leader uses hateful and loaded language, it inspires and enables citizens to embrace stereotypes and act on hatred as well. And we've seen that in talking with MAGA Republicans.
What's so bad about the migrants?
Cartel, drugs, fentanyl coming in. And Biden's put us in hell.
Aggravates me that they come into the country, they don't have any shots, they're just flying over, they don't check them for anything.
Close our border back up, make America great again like he did before.
You know, intolerance towards anyone encourages intolerance towards everyone.
And on this day, it wasn't just Chris Christie slamming Donald Trump for enabling and inspiring more hatred in the United States. Over on MSNBC's Morning Joe, the crew spoke about Trump's depiction of America.
How sick to say that America is a rotten nation before you're president of the United States. American carnage. And then you become president of the United States. And America has 4 of the most tumultuous years later. And the second he leaves and is defeated by the American people, he goes back to saying that America sucks again. Like, how grotesque.
The common denominator.
How grotesque that Donald Trump only thinks America is great when Donald Trump's president.
Yeah, because he doesn't care about America nearly as much as he cares about himself. And that's the problem.
I'm sorry, Claire. You could have stopped after America and could have just put a period there, because there is no evidence
none
over the last 8 years that I've ever seen that shows that Donald Trump cares a damn about America. He just doesn't. He cares about himself.
Now, while MSNBC's Morning Joe confronts the reality of Donald Trump, you will rarely hear any of this over on Fox News. Instead, Fox has generally shut out the harshest critics and criticism of Donald Trump, and that includes Chris Christie. Instead, on Fox, the focus is almost entirely on President Joe Biden. And the conservative talking point that gets repeated over and over is that Joe Biden is too old. The smear even gets embraced by Fox correspondents who throw it at President Biden himself.
Mr. President, are you too old to be running for re-election?
Stupid.
Why is Donald Trump beating you in the latest poll?
Okay, I would argue the questions are fair, and President Biden responded. But in a subsequent TV report, listen to how that Fox correspondent yelling the questions framed all of this.
The oldest president in U.S. history also continues to face questions about his age, even here in Nantucket.
The oldest president continues to face questions about his age, even here in Nantucket. But Lucas Tomlinson, the only reason the president faced that question is because you asked the question, something you neglected to disclose in your report. In other words, you asked President Biden about his age and then used your own question as proof. The president continues to face questions about his age. Oh, and Lucas, you also did it on Twitter. While shopping on Nantucket, President Biden was asked by a reporter if he is too old to run for re-election. "That's stupid," he replied. Thankfully, readers added context they thought people might want to know. This post lacks context. The reporter that asks this question is this reporter, Lucas Tomlinson.
Mr. President, are you too old to be running for re-election?
Even stupider is a Fox reporter who won't just say, "I asked President Biden about his age." Lucas, you are too young to be falling into the Fox News ethics-free cesspool. Just be honest. The bigger point in all of this is that a large portion of news consumers in America who only watch Fox are only hearing about President Biden's age. They are not hearing anything about Donald Trump's gaffes, cognitive meltdowns, or hateful rhetoric. And that helps explain in part why Donald Trump is still leading Republican presidential primary polls, and why a rival like Chris Christie faces such an uphill climb in gaining ground. However, Christie has gained some, and his approach in New Hampshire continues to be relentless.
I'm not willing to acquiesce to someone who embarrasses us. I'm not willing to acquiesce to someone who makes us seem small all around the world. I'm not willing to acquiesce to someone who is the worst of our public discourse.
In New Hampshire, while hammering the former president without naming him, Republican Chris Christie reminded voters that Donald Trump's nomination does not have to be and should not be automatic.
I'm just unwilling to do it. And maybe in 9 weeks, you'll come back to me and say, "See, I was right. You were wrong. You're naive. I'm smart." Maybe that'll be the way it'll work out, but it won't happen because I didn't try. And the greatest thing about this country is, you want to try to change your country, you stand up and you go to work and you try to make it better and you set an example and you fight for the things you believe in. And that's what I'm doing every day up here and what I'm going to continue to do, because I love this country too much for us to give up on it. And I'm certainly not going to give in to him.
And on top of the town halls, Christie is crushing conservative cable media hosts who defend Donald Trump, including Eric Bolling on Newsmax.
And I think we deserve better as the Republican Party and as the United States than a guy who's going to be convicted of felonies this April to be our nominee, Chris, and to try to be our president.
By a bunch of liberal Democrats that are trying to take him down because they fear him.
No.
Guess what? If Chris Christie was 53%,
not by a bunch of liberal Democrats.
They probably have your butt in the courtroom too.
No, I'm not going to put up with you saying that. He's going to be convicted by Mark Meadows, a founder of the Freedom Caucus, and his chief of staff, who he called the next James Baker. That guy is now testifying and will sit 20 feet away from Donald Trump in a courtroom, taking an oath and saying he committed crimes and he directed others to commit crimes, including me. We call him a hero weeks ago. Come on.
No,
Don't interrupt me when I start to say things that make people uncomfortable.
I'm just a numbers guy. I'm just a numbers guy. It's insurmountable. Let's be honest. It is insurmountable to overtake Donald Trump by any of these people, unless, of course, something dramatic happens with Trump in his personal life, being convicted of something or worse.
Nothing dramatic could possibly happen in Donald Trump's life. I'm not a numbers guy, by the way, Eric. I'm a character guy.
And let's give credit where credit is due. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is showing his character and courage by calling out Donald Trump everywhere and by connecting Trump to the rise in hatred in America. Christie is willing to say something that many Republicans will tell you privately but will not say on camera. Donald Trump has coarsened our public discourse, enabled hatred to grow, and made America's society dumber and less thoughtful. Kudos to Chris Christie and others for calling it all out. One can only hope that somehow, some way, more Republicans will see the epic danger in Donald Trump before the 2024 presidential primary voting begins. By the way, Donald Trump's former White House press secretary, Sarah Sanders, is in more trouble as governor of Arkansas, and now it's thanks to a book burner she appointed to the state library board. The man says Jesus would be on his side.
People going into the library and throwing books out in the yard and burning them and that sort of thing. But, you know, Jesus just might have done it himself.
Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.